could my legal prescription drug use ever come into question in court after a self-defense incident? So that is, I mean, and this is, I know people are going to be like, don't tell me it varies state by state again, but here we go. So I would say the majority of states do not have any sort of reciprocal discovery when it comes to criminal matters, right? Meaning that as defense attorneys, and this is definitely the case here in Texas, if you come to me and you say, you know, I take Ambien and there was Ambien in my system when I did this and I don't know what to do about it, I am under not only no obligation to disclose that to the other side and to the state of Texas, but in fact, if I did, I would really be risking, I think, my bar license because it's not acting possibly in your best interest, unless it is. We were having an interesting discussion before we started here about, in fact, a doctor of mine who was like low-key planning a murder by using Ambien. And, you know, that was just, she was joking about how that would be her defense is that, you know, well, if I killed someone, I would take, you know, take much Ambien and I would say that I did it on Ambien. And I didn't, you know,
memory erased.
Not a good idea, by the way. But so, you know, it's only if it's in your best interest does it get disclosed. Now, there are going to be some states where that's not true, right? There are going to be some states where there is some sort of subpoena power or warrant power. Also, bear in mind, they search your house. They're going to find the bottle of the prescription medication, perhaps. That might come in that way. Also, people who have served and are serving in the military, I am so sorry. All those medical records, they're going to be subpoenaed by the state. The state is going to get access to them. They're going to get to comb through them. And then it's going to be a courtroom battle in front of a judge to decide what in your medical records comes in. You know, those of us who are just private citizens like you and I, hopefully a much more difficult battle for the state to get that information to try to use against you in court. Still possible in a variety of different ways. So I would say, you know, for, you know, like this viewer who asks, if it makes you nervous, the only really good answer I have is weigh your options very carefully, right? You know, if there have been a lot of break-ins and a lot of crime in your neighborhood recently, maybe tamper down the medication use if you can, until you feel comfortable again, because it really is, it's like a choose your own adventure kids book as to whether or not this information might make its way into law enforcement hands and into the courtroom.
And a self-defense issue that I have seen come up in our cases, you know, clients that we have had in the past, we talk about that objective reasonableness standard. Hey, what if you're intoxicated? I'd say the second kind of ancillary issue people don't think that, you know, is it as closely involved as ability to control your emotions or, you know, when you're interacting with law enforcement, because that comes up, you know, if you have to shoot someone in self-defense, guess what? The police are going to get involved. And if you know, if anyone has hung out with someone who's become intoxicated before, they're a little bit, have a tendency to be a little bit more chatty than, you know, if they were stone cold sober. And so that's the other thing that I think comes up. And on top of that, the way that your memory functions whenever you're intoxicated and your ability to preserve memory or perception, that comes up too. So if you give one statement when you're intoxicated and then a statement later, let's say you sober up, you know, they take you downtown just 6 hours later, you haven't had an opportunity to, you know, keep the party going, right? But that statement is going to look wildly different also. So so it's important. I mean, if you find yourself in that situation, it's so important, invoking your rights, invoking your right to an attorney, having an attorney present, because you know, you don't want to find yourself, you know, kind of blabbing or so to say.